people on Mart TV. A week or so ago on the videos, I posted up a brief intro to this lever action rifle, Mossberg 464, and promised you I'd do a full test on it. So here it is. In the UK, there's three options. Standard gun is blued with a nice pistol grip stock and walnut. This is what they call the Mariner finish, which is like a brushed stainless steel. This one is with walnut stock, and as I said before, it looks quite nice, contrasty. Even nicer laminate version, it's a Mariner laminate, it's exactly the same gun, frosted finish, blah blah blah, but the walnut goes away and you replace it with grey-black laminates, and I think that really looks the business. Capacity is 6+1, which is more than enough for hunting. Weight's about 6.5 pounds. It comes with sling studs as standard, which is nice. Hammer is a rebound system, so there's no half cock. If the trigger isn't pressed all the way and held, the hammer will go down, but it won't reach the tail of the firing pin. In terms of what I've got with it, Viking, who also import Leopold, sent me 1:6 by 24 scope, which was seen well suited to a rifle of this nature. Crank supplied me Lee loading kit, Sierra flat nose 150 grain bullets and round nose 150 grain bullets, along with dies and ram shot tack and wild boar powders. Very kindly, Ray Trade chipped in with 40 rounds of Remington Corlock 150 grain, which is also a round nose style. So I've got some factory to compare everything with. The other thing you need to get for it is bases. These are Weaver 403 bases, and I must admit initially I had a bit of a problem finding them, but just big shout out to Brownells UK, who got me a set from the US quite quickly. The rifle is a side ejector, meaning no problem putting a scope on. Let's look a little bit deeper at this rifle. Sights, we can see them in detail here. It's the Williams. There's the fibre optic green at the front. As you can see, that screw there allows you to move it left and right, and that screw there allows you to bring the rear block up and down. Front sight, big tall blade. You can see the red insert. Again, set in a dovetail so you can knock it left and right for zeroing. I don't suppose many people can use it with iron sights, but you can, and it's not badly accurate. These are the 403 bases. It's drilled and tapped, so and the bases come to their own screws and allow you to fit lots of things. I've got a couple of things here, as I showed you. This is the Leopold VX6HD 1:6 by 24. Comes with their like BDC top turret, flip-up lens covers. I've fitted it in a set of low QD rings, and it comes with a throw lever, quite nice. And this is an old red dot I've had for absolutely years. It rather mimics the early aim points, and that goes on, as we shall see. And if you're thinking about short range use, like if you're hunting in woods and things and you only want it to be very short, then it's quite a nice option. Safety wise, you have a tang mounted unit here, which is really good. Pushes forward for fire with a red dot exposed, back for safe. It doesn't stop hammer operation, it just stops the hammer falling all the way down. The hammer, as you can see, has got sort of a lowish slotted spur for cocking, but also it comes with a hammer extension. As you see, when we've got a scope on, you can't really get your thumb over the top of the hammer, so that just sits to one side like so. Safety wise as well, down here, you can see here, you've got like a plate and a button. What that does is physically blocks the trigger. You shut the lever all the way up, boom. But if it's left open, you can pull the trigger all day long and nothing will happen until you do that. Just like to talk a little bit about ammunition in relation to tube magazines. Because the round stack nose to tail in the magazine, like so, there is the potential for a situation where the recoil allows the tip of the round behind the one in front to smash into the primer. It's not very common, because usually when they're in the magazine they tend to sit like that, but it's recommended to use a flat nose bullet or a round nose bullet. I've done it with flat nose, I've done it with round nose, and they're both fine. What you cannot use is a pointed bullet, like a spire point, that sort of thing, or a ballistic tip, because I'm not saying it would happen, but there's much more potential for it to happen. The only way you could use a pointed bullet, if you were hunting this, was put 2 rounds in the gun, one in the chamber, one in the magazine, so you got a second round very quickly. In terms of velocity and energy, the 30-30 isn't the quickest round in the world. I've done some experimentation, and if you want it to be large deer legal, then that, as we all know, is 1,700 foot-pounds plus, and that's the line. It's not the sort of gun I'd take up against a red, but I think if it was close, I'd use it, because that 150 bullet, I mean, I've taken reds of 6.5 Swedish and with a 140 grain bullet, and that's with some factory ammo. It's not exactly quick, but it was deer legal and it dropped them on its tracks with the right bullet in it, so that's not a problem. So I've loaded up some flat nose, and I've also got this factory, and I've loaded up some round nose as well. But what you're probably looking at energy-wise, if you want it largely illegal, I would say is your ammunition needs to be making about 2,250 minimum, which would just scrape in or thereabouts, but definitely chronograph your load. So as this is, say I said before, this is quoted at 2390. I'm not sure if it'll make that from 20-inch barrel. I'd say you'd lob off 50 feet per second just to be certain. But that's still going to give you, that's probably going to push you up towards 1,750, maybe 1,800 foot-pounds, so you're quite clear. But for me, this is really a close range, muntjac and row gun in the woods, this sort of thing. But just be aware, Hornaday do a soft point, it's a rubber tip called lever evolution. And basically the rubber tip is pointed like a ballistic tip. It'll impact the primer, but it will not set it off. I've got to say that lever evolution stuff is really pretty good, because with a more ballistically efficient bullet, you get better energy and also better speed. And it does turn what's quite a short range rifle into something a bit longer. However, for me, I think my maximum distance for this will be about 200 yards, probably a lot less. So I'd see it as more as a woodland gun, but it's a hand little rifle. Okay, so load up and do a little bit of shooting. If you're wondering why I've got this bit of camo on the front of the scope, when this lens cover flicks up, it clangs on the scope, but it makes an awful noise. So I just thought I'd put something to pad it. Load up, one at a time, said before. Push in. Little tip here, not a bad idea just to leave the rounds perhaps not quite in the gun, so it's easy to push them in, like so. Right, safety's on, flip up. So with anything like a pump or a lever action, you've got to be quite aggressive with the action to make sure the cases come out and they reload. And let's see. There you are, I miscounted that, but you can see you crank it, they come out well. Recoil's not too bad. Been shooting this off the bench, 0 to 50 yards. It's pulling an inch at 50 with the Remington and the reloads around about an inch. Drops a little bit 100, so you wind it in a couple of clicks. But at 100 yards, it will group 2 inches-ish, given, you know, you hold the scope straight. Also, you could put down like a 4-inch clay down there, which is the sort of size of the vital area, perhaps something like a roe deer or something. And every time it was pretty much diesel in the center of the clay, so no real problem on sort of 100 meter accuracy. And at 200, if you want to push that far, you're going to get sort of a 4-inch group at worst. But as I said, from my point of view, it's more of a shorter range gun. I'd certainly push it to 2, but you know, as soon as we'll be in the woods with it, and as they come out, you get up close and personal. Overall, a great rifle. Everybody loves a lever action. I know I do. And this thing has proved itself in terms of ability, shootability, and also rounds do have the right energy. You either buy them off the shelf and they will hit some 700 foot-pounds plus, or you can reload for them. So, and at price, I think it's $655 or $645. It's ridiculously cheap for what is a really quality little lever action. I really like it. I love one in my collection because I could just have it for when I'm sort of mooping about and I want to go muntjac or want to go in the deep woods and hunt there, where I don't need a big rifle. So there you go, that's it. The only thing I think Mossberg need to do is think about some pistol calibers, because this would sell like hotcakes in the UK market, especially as it's drilled and tapped for scope mounts. Right, so if you enjoyed that, tell me. If you didn't, tell me, I don't care. Tell your friends, support the website, and as usual, Want to speak to me, pmore@shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll catch you later.